just picked up, what, 7 put down, 7 Bomar. Basically, the essence is to be a study of one's self. And after God, after goodness had explored itself and identified its character of Alpha being the beginning, then in order to experience its nothingness, its outside of itself, its illusion of outside of itself, it creates an antagonist. It creates a dark side of self, and then you have to forget that you did that. You have to submerge yourself in your own experience in order to have an experience. And so when you're ready to integrate your shadow, your dark side, step into the light and know that you still have a dark side that exists. I think the perfect example or a more full example, holistic example, is Alaska and their state capital, Eureka. I found it. And so 6 months of light and 6 months of darkness, we see the world or the state as halved. So all of creation has kept the original blueprint and built upon the surrounding parts. As I was looking at one of the ancient maps and all of the different spellings, original at least, pre-current day, basically you see the snake as the colon and the intestines. You see the star, being like Christ, the recognition of consciousness and sexuality and choice, in the genital area, and so again, these levels and layers of consciousness in the body to be understood, and sat down, coiled. That's why the gurus sit, you rug. That's why they sit to teach, because their kundalini is at rest, if you will. The wisdom is speaking, but their sexuality is at rest. And so we have 2 snakes, if you will, the double helix. And so she, being the creator, the author, the true author of the book, you have an authority, but man, it's our fault for saying, give a man an idea and make him think he came up with it. We should have never promoted that kind of stuff. They think they really did create the world, and now we have this constant bowing down in some kind of form to the he. And now, just more recently, thankfully, I've heard more honor given to the motherhood, the feminine-hood. There would be no brotherhood, there would be no sisterhood if there were not a motherhood. And so she is the ultimate moon, the mono, M-O-N-O, and to demon, to take Monday out, to take the secret out of the moon. That's when the honey drips out of the moon. But basically what you have is man, woman, and consciousness in the Bible, and that genesis of that tree of knowledge, of backwards and forwards, being able to see things, being able to see that they were tricked. Once you find out the answer, you elevate to the next story or scene. No, you don't get to rest at the graduated from 3rd grade. Okay, so once you find out that you are the Santa Claus, or Daddy's Santa Claus, or Mom is Santa Claus, whomever, Granddaddy is Santa Claus, once you find out that gifts come from above, but it is your idea to decide if you're going to create a fictitious character, be good boys and girls, if this is your persuasion to get people to act right, as they say now, get to control you. It's been since you were children, but African American, colored people, Negroes, we were never under a guise of Santa Claus. So then they got us with Satan. Same principle, only negative reinforcement. So we learn through nature and nurture until we have our own recognition. And so being a study of religious text, because again, I knew that would be a hinge, an Achilles heel, if it were an Achilles heel is A-H, aha moment. That, yes, the matrix is everywhere, the tricks of the mother, to teach her children a lesson. And she goes through with it. If you read the Bible, you'd realize that Eve was not part of the curse. There was a knowing. There was a wink there that most people don't read between the lines. And so maybe that'll be something I need to highlight for my VAJCast. Reading between the lines, between the lions, between the Judah, between the lying brothers, the thieving brothers, the 11 disciples of the Old Testament. They were brothers. They were brothers in the New Testament, but they were a team, always finding the different link, not always weaker, but that oddball. I don't care how many there are in number. Sometimes there's an oddball. And so in the Bible, we have that Genesis 3 you had the book of beginnings. There were several beginnings. And so the serpent basically slid his way back into the story. He gave away the info. God knows if you eat off the tree, you're going to be able to see what he sees. Or it sees. Maybe that'll help. And so you will no longer need a guide. You will be able to look into yourself for your answers. And I give you the keys. Now, I'll give you some principles right here. Look up your natal birth chart. Look it up online. It's a free service, or no cost to you, put it that way, other than your time. And so it gives you a diagram. It gives you a printout, a sacred G. I'm a tree. You're a star. You're a pie. You decide what that shape and figure represents. But it's been you the entire time, the whole time. And so this is what we call, our table of contents, our talk, our TikTok. We're at the end of our game where it's time to unpack those boxes, unpack our DNA, our helix, our codes. Look at your old phone numbers. Look at your previous addresses. Look at your social security number. Add your numbers together. You'll find out that you're you all over again. All you need is the letter U. Open up becomes the letter V. And I am your V. I am your validation. I am the victory. Even as it pertains to our faith, our ability to manifest ourselves here. Forget that we were gods. For means before, get. To relate to relatives. To have the entire world be part of our wake-up system. Hollywood being the biggest screen, the silver screen. And it was time. It's 3:16 on the clock right now, p.m. Central Standard Time, on a Sunday, on a Soon Day. Soon Day is here. It's beautiful outside. It's St. Ferdinand Park. And I just came to get out of myself, get out of my being here and being her, being he even. For those who just need a man, a woman can cut off her R. She can cut off her options. But an R, like in the movie The Truman Show, that is the fingers crossed. Some people mean, it says it means hope. I'll just tell you, hope is alive and well. And Hope has foes, though. These are our spheres, our circulars, our cliques, the people that we hang around. And we were taught stranger danger. We were taught everybody's not your friend. And so many of us have to decide for ourselves if the world is our oyster, if it is our friend, if it is a hostile environment. We have to decide for ourselves, because we are shown, the violence on our Hollywood screen. And we read the little ingredients at the left top hand side. That's called the left path, the way of the left, or whatever y'all call it. But the maps basically are, to me, these ancient maps are self-explanatory. The one that I just saw, I'm not going to remember all the pieces of it, but it basically had the serpent right there in the middle of you, your tree of life. Had you standing on the stars on one hand and the moon in the other foot, and in your hand was the sun, and then on the other side, I do remember, was like a chain. But it was, you're chained to this humanity, if you will, this flesh suit. Even if you can, astral project and so forth. So you have these different worlds that you gravitate to, people that attract you. They have a signature, they have a print. And when I discovered for myself, I shared it with my daughter, that God is as individual as your thumbprint. I appreciate Allah being arm, leg, arm, head, but God is more specific than that. That's more of a you-do doll, a voodoo doll, a Valdo doll. That says that we are the gods. If you got an arm, a leg, an arm, and a head, you are God. You are chosen. You are good. You are goodness. You brought something to the earth. You are that talent. I am that talent that was buried in my mother's womb. And she hid me, and your mother hid you for as long as she could, until her belly began to blow up. And that's what they used to call, she ate a watermelon seed, or there's a bun in the oven. And that's why we are the bread of life. And when we open our mouths, we are breaking the bread of life. We're breaking the code of silence and giving homage or home age, showing who your mama was, is, and is to be. To be. The black one. The bubbled in. The filled in. Once you go black, you'll never go back. What does that mean? Once you have the secret, you can never go back to lacking. You can never go back to ignorance. You only draw out and lack back so that you may fill it and refill it with more Melchizedek, more knowledge, more coins, more curriculum. We've done it over and over and over again until, again, there became a numbness. There became I know this every day. This is how my youngest son came out talking. I just know this every day. Nobody had to tell me. I don't, what is this language you speak? We would say things and he was like, what does that mean? But what does that mean? Meaning, what are you going to do with, how does this make bread? How can I feed from what you're saying? And that's been my cry for myself. What good is all of the knowledge of the secrets of self? Okay, I know me, I get me. Who wants to know? And so it became, I can teach people how to do it for themselves, how to find their own map, how to view their own map. What was the projection of the trajectory? They landed on Plymouth Rock, or the rock landed on them, depending on, how hard their head was. But I get it, and I got it, and I'm good. And I refused to let anyone else diminish the light, the enlightenment, to set someone else on fire. Oh, we did it in church. I have the perfect example. And I believe for everyone else's story, they are the authors. So, of course, they are the perfect example for their story. So then it's up to you if you want to bind your story in a book and tell it as a children's story, or an autobiography, or a last will and testament, or a poetry book, or nothing at all. To say, read me now. This is all you get. Maybe a voice print. How many hours I've spent absorbing Neville Goddard. I said, with a name like Goddard, you've got to listen to him. You just Goddard. I'm sorry. I slept that one in there. You just have to. It just made sense. But I've been making so much sensory, so much SENSE. I had maximized my 5 senses that it was like my 6th sense exploded. And then it got turned upside down and became my 9th sense, and started thinking about the 7th heaven and the ether realms and the quantum jumping and the leaping and the metaphysics and metatronics and texahedron. I'm like, okay. Let's do it. Let me land. I was prophesied 2 years ago. Pastor told me it was like I was in a holding pattern. And that was 20-some years ago. I was like, God, thanks. Tell me what you don't see. It was like I was, for the concern, if you will, of someone taking it the wrong way. I get bored on this planet. I mean, it's beautiful in its own right. It is this area, and I know there's more for me to see, I guess. I don't know. I must have been there and did that already too. Again, as gamers, they say you give enough. I coded this one or decoded it. Give a man enough rope. That's gamer, Gamer. Give a man enough rope. But we often say this isn't our first rodeo. more times than not, people finish that sentence and say, give a man enough rope and he'll hang himself. At least that's what my mom used to say. And that's what my brother did. But he's alive and well. Every story that sounds bad isn't bad. And every story that sounds good isn't good. And so, if you've come from the omnipotence, if you've come from the all-powerful God, the all-potent, does God not have power over a snake and a snake's venom? Or did God give everything its own power and defense, offense and defense? And some of us chose to believe that we had no reason to defend ourselves. We shouldn't have a reason to defend ourselves. We learn how to have a tough shell. But to keep something in remembrance of our tender heart. You call that the crab. You call that the rabbi. When you live with your shelter on your back. You are your covering. And if a man gives you a coat, it's because you believe that God provided it. Because the scripture says, if he asks for a shirt, give him your cloak too. Or your cloak, give him your raiment too. Give him your outer coat. Because he may have to walk alone. But he's going to remember that everything that he or she has gotten, everything you begotten it from a gift. The gift of your hands, the gift of your eyes, the gift of color, the gift of contrast, the gift of polarity. And I think to say that somebody is bipolar just means you honor both your good and your not so good. You're dark and you're light. You're learning how to integrate. But North and South Pole was not shown to us that they could comprehend each other. We have to evolve beyond the Bible. It wasn't given to us to stay stuck there. It's a book of incompletion. It's a book of conversation. For those who are mature enough to have it, if you're coming to argue, the Bible says don't even worry about it, don't even do it. But that doesn't mean that there's not someone out there who knows how to stop and break bread, rightfully divide it, have a bread knife called their own tongue, the serrated edge, the seraphim, the cherubim, it's all there. It's all here. And to be impregnated with your own idea that maybe you are the source. You are the one. You the one for real. For real. That God chose you because you chose God to be your perfect example, and you had already came up with the idea. I remember years ago. I said, okay, at some point it'll end. Satan and God will get to look at each other, square off, and whatever this punishment was, this hellfire, brimstone, and say, okay, that's enough. It's, you learned your lesson or whatever. You are no more. And I know that, and I understood that even at that time that they may come for different people at different times, but we were also taught that there would be this great day, this like, we get it, we all get it. And the world just changes, it's almost as quickly as you see it on The Lion King, dearth and everything eaten up, and Scar don't know how to, let the land rest and replenish and eat the portion and burn the rest, and, they lost their Native Americans. And so rightful owner comes back, and the sun just rolls in, and the giraffes are bowing down, and everybody's happy and gay. Sunshine, gold coins, and again, the least of them have all that they need. And I'm here to tell you that day is now. That day is here. Because it's written in your stars, is written in your DNA as well as mine. God made sure of it. Jesus made sure of it. Yeshua made sure. Emmanuel made sure of it. Joseph, Levi, Marie, Mary, Martha, Jones, Jefferson, Johnson, Jackson, Brown, Black, Negro, White, Pale, Leaping. All of them made sure. There is no need for a big I without a big U. We all got a capital. We all got a limit. We all got a place where we say no more. Whether that's no more as in no further, get some more information, or that's enough, I quit. And I'm there. I'm at the ladder. I'm at the one that says I quit. I quit for me. I'm here for you. Jesus on the cross, I had a problem because there were 3. Y'all remember? At least the way the story was told. I went back for myself. I had heard enough to know that most people believe there were 3 on the cross. Barabbas got away free. And one was trying to get Jesus to bring him down, and the other one said, leave him alone. He ain't did nothing. We did something wrong. And he took the one, and we didn't hear anything about the other one being taken. We hear in the Revelation that one would be left and one would be taken. To me, that says choice. He could have stepped in and said, hey, wait, me too. I'm sorry, my bad. But it gives us the choice so that we don't feel like we have to follow a Christ consciousness. If you want to stay asleep, you can turn back over and hit that snooze button. But if there was a thumbs up, if there was a hand clap, if there was a hallelujah, hello lucid ones, wholeness, integration, and harmony and power, feel harmonics, hand in hand, breast to breast, $ go ask Val. I'll ask her. What is it worth to have cracked the whole code? That there is someone willing to say and to know they are the perfect example. And then I can find our ancestors. And if we really want to, we can magnetize them back. Or we can allow them to live in their own other world. And we can go where they are. Where they are, we can be also. Once we come to ourselves, we really can make this up. But we have to come to ourselves. Me came to myself that it was too many. Me, myself, and I, that's too many. There's possession there. I, myself, personally, that's just too much. I'm ready to get this done. I'm ready to show people that they are worth at least their weight in gold. Present market value. That comes out to the average 130 pounds. Even if we take a baseline number. Is that what it's for? Those charts? How much you should weigh, and your BMI and your MIB and stuff. You have an MIB, by the way. You got a man in black. things like death row on a t-shirt. We have a whole company called that, and we don't fear death. Everybody doesn't fear death, but for the ones who don't want to die, I wouldn't wear that. Death is hated. But by whom? Those left, or those that didn't realize they were sending themselves to their own grave? I don't know. You all get to decide. That's the beauty of God and God's will. No one gets to decide for you, the individual. And I had to decide to make this day possible. And it was set before me like an open door, an 11. If you want to know where 1111 came from, I was 11 when my mother passed away, or transitioned out of here, or left the carbon world, or left the carbon suit. I don't know what to call it no more. As far as I'm concerned, I am my mother. But she was 47 years old, and 4 plus 7 equals 11. And so I had to not just acknowledge ancestors as if they were some gone away and just woo around, during certain times of the moon phase or something. I had to incorporate. That's where we get the incorporation from. 5. The number 5. You have to have at least 5 to call it a corporation. And they make up a body. A core is a body, and a P is silent. I think we all should be able to be validated, whether we have a birth certificate or not, and if it truly is that important, and we should be getting everyone a delayed birth certificate. Look at the rings on their finger, their wrist, or something. Let them make them up one. But do not deny people their humanity. Do not deny their godness. Do not deny their breath and their existence because they don't have a piece of paper. The real ID is your existence, your thumbprint, your fingerprint. My mother and I are one. Can I say that? If Jesus can say the Father and I are one, can I go ahead and make it a divine Trinity and say the Father and the Mother and I are one? Can that be the Holy Trinity? Can I say that even their mothers and I are one? How many is okay? Or is there 5K or 10K or legions or legends? A whole ledger, a whole manifest. The ship's names that brought those over on the first cruise. Packed in like sardines and still survived. Those that went overboard believed that they would be swallowed up and that they would come and live again. And so, hello. Here we are again. Whether you believe in a sense of reincarnation or however you got yourself here, it doesn't have to be hard in my book. The starting point is 0 point. Your navel. Why do we call it the Navy? The naval. Submarine. We all live in a yellow submarine. The soul. The yellow for the soul. The gold. I came for the gold. And I am the gold. So that I don't have to be walking around with pavement. God birthed me within the word, within the world, within the whirlwind of it all in 1969. And he gave me an assignment, and I finished that assignment when I discovered that 1969 was the numbers, and 79 being my birthday, was the numbers on the AU gold periodic table of elements. And the 196, the point, the zero, the decimal, whatever, that point is symbolic of 0 point energy. When I had no more else to prove or to learn to myself, but to give my life to my children, because they dearly have deserved it, have earned it. And I've been given the opportunity now to just sweat. Actually, I'm sweating in the car. The opportunity to be by myself, to make this speech, this treatise, this resolution of identity without the crisis. I'm so very thankful to know who I am, and to know that I can share with others a way for them to find out who they are, to be like a birth certificate. Because you're born every second, every eon, every moment, every nanosecond. You're constantly being, you're beaming. And maybe when this reaches the next person, to the left, to the right, the ones that do leave a carbon footprints in the sand, it will give them the reason to thank their blessed and lucky stars for not giving up. Thank you for not giving up on me. I certainly have not given up on you. As long as there are children, as long as there are butterflies, as long as there are bees and queens and singers and dancers, and the ability to let go and move forward, step forward, fall forward, get up again. I want to challenge people that want to be challenged. I want to show people how to have motive again, how to have drive when they feel like they're more of a wagon. My new success depends on you. My former success depended on me, and my relationship with goodness, with God, with greatness, with Lucifer, with Lucy, with Augustus, with the masks, with the woods. These are my family members' names, not just ancestors. These are my current family members' names. And with the Jeffersons, which means God's peace, son of God's peace, chief, chef. It would be my daughter's honor to serve as a private chef, and I ask that you sponsor that. My son is a photographer. He is the Buddha. He is the dark spectrum of my life. My daughter is the golden age of my life. My other son is the warrior, and he has graced me with a legacy so far of 3. And many that did not come directly from my matrix, from my room, from my womb, but from my heart space, from my intuition, my spiritual children, my sisters, those that contain my most challenging times. Thank you. You are a part of my DNA. And I'm ready to do missions in Africa, Puerto Rico, Peru. I'm ready to pack my stuff and put it in a storage and touch people, smile at them, let them see what it looks like to forgive everything, anything. To have no enemies, really, truly, have no enemies. To have reconciled God and, quote, sinner. God made you. Why be sorry every day? Why not change the meaning of repent and repen your will? They say the pen is mightier than the sword, and so that person saw the weapon in the ink pen, in the quill, the will. I want to talk about our glorified body on this earth. I want to talk about how to attain, how to get to a place where we believe and act upon a immortal body, where we become the avatar. And for me, the avatar, just to make it mine. The man art. The mantra is the man art. And so, what is man that we're so mindful that we would check on him and visit him when he's born? We know of our own greatness. Anyway, if you enjoyed this as much as I have enjoyed giving it to you, please, please, please feel free. Feel liberated to know that you're giving to someone who became poverty so that we all could have a realization of inner wealth. And so within, we are never to go without. As long as we understand and understand and intersit one person to another as good, and acknowledge when there is good. And when you do that, you don't even have to acknowledge the bad behavior or the undesired behavior, because people want to be recognized for their good behavior. Or they want to be recognized. The Ubuntu, the God in me sees the God in you. We acknowledge it. The black man gave the head nod, the what's up. Even if I'm just passing to tip the hat, it's a sign that we are not ignored, that we are not forgotten. We live among each other as family, breathing the same air, pushing for the same love and evolution of love. That is all. Take care.